everybody, to the Wilderness Wired podcast. I am Trevor, one of the co hosts, and I'm here joined with my best friend and hunting partner, Adam.
What's going on, everybody?
Uh, what's new, Adam? Did you just had a weekend?
Yeah, I just got back um earlier. Went to Buddies in Missouri for their opening rifle season. Saw a few bucks, but their county has he lives in one of the or his farm is in one of the counties that has a antler restriction, so it has to have minimum of 4 points on one side. So a couple small bucks, never saw any does. So I didn't shoot. I didn't shoot one single bullet this weekend. Saw a few bucks that one buck was within bow. I could have thrown an arrow through that buck. He was so close, but too small. They were all too small. But I got to see some deer, And then
That's good.
Of course, I leave to come back today and didn't hunt the evening there. And he sends me a picture of like 8 doe in the field. Yeah, I'm like, did you shoot one? He's like, no, there's too many.
There's too many.
He doesn't want to educate the deer. So he's not like, he likes hunting, but he's also, I don't know how much he really eats deer meat. So he's not like, I have to shoot. So I have to go out and shoot something.
Yeah.
So he's kind of an opportunity. Like, if it's a good opportunity and it's not going to ruin the property or anything like that, he'll take one. But he's not the kind of guy that has to have a deer and just will shoot anything just because.
Well, yeah, but when you have your own property and you're trying to grow deer and manage your deer population, I can understand that.
Yeah, his rule is, if you're going to shoot a buck, you are going to get it mounted. So that's his rule.
So don't shoot a forky.
It has to be a trophy. You can't. Well, and you can't in that county. You can't even be legal in shooting a forky. You can't be legal shooting a 4-point. It could be the biggest 4-point in the world, but it's not legal there. It has to have 4 points on one side.
That's crazy. Even if it's a cull buck, like, even if it's just like it's never going to be anything more, and it's like 130-inch 4-point.
No, it's an antler restriction.
That's crazy.
In that county. But I mean, obviously, it's only in those counties that probably grow big deer. So,
right,
or something like I don't know the reasoning behind it. It's only a couple. It's Lincoln County, Pike County, which is right above it, and then like the rest of the state, and then like there's the upper left corner of Missouri that has it too. So, but I mean, some nice bucks have been taken off his farm. I just go over there for the meat, for doe.
Yeah.
I went over there for early season that we talked about. Saw a little buck, not even legal to shoot, Couldn't shoot it if it was legal either. So wasn't a legal buck, wasn't legal season. So
I tell you what, that's been I mean, I've hunted, I've set the stand a lot already this season. And I will say that I've seen more small deer this year than I ever have. And I don't know if it's because, like, we have so much, or we don't have enough food to supply the vastly growing deer population, or if the genetics in the areas that I'm hunting are just bad, or if they're popping out twins, maybe there's does that have twin genetic, and they're just popping out twins, and I'm just seeing a lot of young deer, or what. But
well, we covered that, right? We covered that the genetics of deer and how they grow their antlers. Like, if they had a bad previous winter, like, okay, so after they're born, if they've had a bad previous winter, their body it'll supply the body to gain weight rather than to build a rack. So it's like based on their winters, and the last winter that they had, it really makes their bodies change. But I don't feel like we've had bad winters, so I don't know.
I don't know. Last winter was pretty rough.
I feel like it's almost a lack of food and like the population growing.
Right.
People aren't killing enough does and dropping the population and keeping that population down to where the area can support the amount that you have that would allow them, to sustain through a good and have a good winter. Then they'll start growing their rack that spring. But
Right.
if the population just keeps growing and growing and growing and they keep having bad winters, well, then their body's just going to keep trying to sustain instead of growing these big racks. But I don't know. I mean, it's all guessing, really.
Right. I hear you. Like kind of like the public land that you know, myself and uh one of our good buddies, Mike, has been hunting. You know, he hunts it pretty frequently. So the deer bed close to the river, but and there's a bunch of feed trees, but the ag is like miles, like legitimate, like minimum like 3 miles from their bed. So the deer have to travel such far distance before the feed trees produce, and then after they drop, they've got to spread wider, after the fields are harvested and plowed and the feed trees are, they've all dropped. And I mean, yeah, I know that deer, they munch on a variety of different plants, but plants don't give you that same. It's the same aspect of, like, our normal American diet is based off of meat. Like that's usually the center point of almost every meal is meat.
A protein, yeah, a source of
Yeah,
protein.
a protein, right? If you change that drastically to, say, a ribeye steak every night to broccoli every single night, your growth is not going to be the same. Your health isn't going to be the same. You're going to be malnourished. So, like, it's just, in my mind, it's the same aspect. But
Yeah, we to get off topic about deer. Have you ever heard? Okay, so I heard this for the first time. I went out to breakfast with my buddy, and he was saying that somebody was talking about how he would change his property, right? How he would get more deer on the property or keep more deer on the property, right? And he had mentioned something about planting pine trees around the entire edge of the farm. Have you ever heard any of this? That like
so
creating a barrier, I guess a safety barrier of pine trees around the entire edge of a farm would keep deer on your property. I've
um
never. I understand that pine trees provide cover all year. I've never heard anything. I've never heard pine trees and deer in the same sentence before in my life.
so let me I've got pine trees in my yard, right?
Yeah.
The deer like the pines, like the pine needles for bedding. But here's the problem with trees like pine trees and spruce is they kill everything underneath of them because they are shaded and they are full all year round.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right. You hardly ever hear, the word spruce or, evergreens or pines and deer in the same sentence because there's nothing there for them. So I don't know where he got that information.
I don't. It's the first time I ever heard of it, man.
He needs to throw that in the trash can, wad it up like a basketball, and try to take a shot at the trash can and reevaluate his whole plan. if I was going to keep deer on my property, I would look at your overshaded areas that aren't growing cover grass that's suffocating feed trees, and I would start with 1, controlled burns, 2, hinge cutting, and then 3, planting food sources to maintain and supply a deer herd.
Yeah.
Like that is, if you're trying to keep deer on a specific piece of property and keep them coming back, like those are the 3 main things that I would do.
Yeah, it was just an out of the blue thing that I've never heard that
Now, don't get me wrong, there might be something there, and
I don't
I've been hunting a long time, and I've never heard anything like that. But
Mhm.
um, that's pretty in my mind. That's pretty outlandish.
Not to mention the cost of going around of, I don't know, 200 plus, acre farm. Like,
You're talking about a lot of money for no reason.
oh my goodness, yeah, the ridiculous amount of money.
If you're trying to
Um,
keep deer in a specific location, you might as well just, if you're going to spend that amount of money, you might as well just buy a high fence. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know, man. No, it's fun though. Going out there, it was fun. I mean, this morning something was stomping behind me. Never heard a blow or a snort, wheeze, or anything. Just there was a stomping, and then probably an hour later, something came crashing through the woods. It sounded like a elk. It was. I was like, is somebody driving something in the woods behind me? It's gnarly.
Right.
And then like a little bit, hour later, something went back in the woods behind me. So never saw anything.
Did you so I've been seeing a lot of stuff online about do you think that it's the right time to rattle or call? Did you do anything like that this weekend?
I did, yes. I used my extinguisher, and I used my rattles too. I used my extinguisher. I did a little bit of older buck calling. I did some younger buck calling because it's got that slide on it, so you can
Yeah,
you
you
know
can kind of paint a picture.
yeah. So
I really like that extinguisher. I'm glad I
I
found
do.
I'm glad I found it in my boot.
Um, and then I used some rattles. Didn't seem to make much of a difference. I said we saw one buck. He was on a mission. He wasn't like he hit a ridge line out in the field, crossing from a point, like a pinch point of the woods. Right.
Mm-hmm.
He came out of the woods, went on the ridge for like 3 seconds, and was boop back into the other side. He was looking. He was on a mission. The one buck I took a video of, and again, these are all not legal in that county anyway. But I don't know. He was on a trail, came right past me. He snuck up on me. He was just moving so slow. He snuck up on me. Went to the edge of the field in the woods, and then was there for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then turned around and went the exact same way he came, just grazing along. But yeah, it stinks. Didn't get to see any doe. They do have a late season antlerless, so that'll be the weekend after I get back. I get back from my trip on the 6th, so I'll go. I think I'm going to set up and go that next Saturday for their antlerless season and try one more time.
Well, you can't kill them from the couch, so
For a doe, so
well, hopefully you have some fair weather whenever you get some better weather whenever you get back, because I don't know what happened. fall / soon to be winter was turned on, and somebody said I'm cold, so they turned up the thermostat. And
Yeah, I mean today felt like a deer day though.
yeah, today definitely felt like a deer day.
Today felt like an opening day deer, but I mean nothing was hardly anything. I think one guy saw one like fork run over the ridge. I heard the stomping behind me and the crashing.
Yeah,
And
probably a buck
then
chasing a doe or something.
that was it. And then I don't know. The mornings there seem to be. It's kind of hard in the mornings there because well, he has got an electric golf cart, which is nice in the fact that, it doesn't make a bunch of engine noise. But I mean, he's got a lot of stuff set up on field edges. So, if you're getting there before daylight, who knows what you're pushing out of the fields. So,
Yeah, I mean,
it's really good. His farm is really good for evenings. I mean, it's really good.
right. I agree to a certain extent in certain points of the year that sometimes you should wait. You could wait until daylight, especially if you know that the deer are moving later. But like I feel like right now, with the rut in full swing, that if you're gonna push something out, it's probably just gonna get pushed right back to you in most cases.
Yeah, we heard shots all around us. On every farm around us, there was shots.
And that's crazy that nothing
And we just
moved in your direction.
I mean, again, it was the problem is that we couldn't get any legal bucks or does. We
Right.
saw a decent, we saw probably 3 or 4 bucks across the 3 of us, but none of them are legal for that county and none of them were trophies for that farm. So yeah, it was nutty not to see any does at all. Like opening day, no does. It was like,
Yeah.
holy crap.
Yeah.
So we gave him. We're like, hey man, you can unlock the barn now and release the deer for us. That'd be great.
In other words, or in other news, the Illinois, right, or I guess you'd call it a rifle season now.
Yeah.
Shotgun season, firearm season, whatever you want to call it, is open next weekend. The 3 days of the first 3 days of 7 that we get.
Yeah. If I go out, I'll be walking up on the farm. I'm staying close because I gotta stick around for Benji.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm gonna go down. We're gonna have deer camp like we have in the past couple of years. Papa Dale's pretty excited. He's been out there mowing some grass down with the truck. It's a hard property, man. I'm not gonna lie. That's a hard property because in the wintertime everything dies, and then in the springtime it rains, so it floods out. Like you can't do anything when it floods out. Even with the giant creeks that the electric company came in and put in whenever they put the power lines in. And then summertime, everything's so tall that you can't. It's almost like trying to mow over trees with a 4-wheeler. So it's a hard property. But early season, I did go out and put a mock scrape up with a dripper. He went out and bought another one and put one in a different location that he thought would be good. It's just going to be me and him this year. No one else grabbed a tag in the family. So I don't know, maybe less pressure. I'm definitely going to be getting pretty aggressive on the call. I don't know I would have to. I think if a little buck or something comes in, or a doe, if I see a doe at a distance, I might try to rattle at them. Just to see what the reaction is, because you can judge a lot better, when you actually see the reaction. So, um, I know that in past seasons I've had a lot more luck rattling in postseason, like post rut. But yeah, we're pretty excited. I'm going out tomorrow. Going to get in the duck blind. I know it's a little warm for ducks, but it's deer on lockdown, man. It's hard to, congratulations to the guys that have shot big deer. I know that one of the guys we work with just shot me a text tonight, said that one of his buddy's kids just dropped a stud. I know that the guys over at Southwestern Archery, I think Gavin's tagged out. So congratulations to him. I think Dale's got one. I know there's a lot of guys on the big buck contest board that's gotten their bucks, and pretty excited. Pretty excited to
I
get
just want some
firearms.
meat.
I hear you, man. I hear you. That's pretty well what I go for. I mean, I'm a bow hunter, so firearm season's like I'm just there for the meat, man.
Yeah, see, people think it's just so much easier having yeah, I've got the distance advantage, but still have to see deer.
Yeah,
Still have to see legal deer.
yeah.
So,
I would like to give a shout out to Braylon Miles and with Mafia Rods. Uh, First duck of the South Central Illinois waterfowl season. His first duck that he shot out of the air was a banded Drake mallard. So congratulations to him.
we like to hear it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. First that's a good sign for a good season. So hopefully there's many more bands for him to come. And
the ducks I've seen, like the couple times we've been out, other than that bluebill, the ducks I've seen all orange feet. So definitely migrating birds.
Yeah, they're definitely moving. I was very skeptical about this whole feed thing, but I can see currently about the whole getting ducks to migrate, and that's the whole point. Like, ducks are not migrating like they were, say a decade ago.
A matter of fact, we just at breakfast with my buddy. He doesn't really hunt ducks, right? He's not really a duck hunter. He's been out a couple times, but he has a friend that is in the Dakotas, and they go up to Canada every year. But they said even the Dakotas have fell off because the flyways they've changed.
They definitely shifted.
They shifted for one thing, but also our climate. So it used to be, it would freeze up in Canada, okay, and then they would come down, and then it would freeze in the Dakotas, and then they'd come down, and it'd freeze in the Midwest, and then they would come down. It's not doing that anymore. It's warm, 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 and then frozen all the way. Like, it's just warm, 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 and then everything is frozen from top to bottom.
Yeah.
It's not layering anymore. So it seems as if they're sticking it out northern until everything's frozen, and then they're just shooting all the way down.
If they even shoot down at all, because you've got all these private farms and duck leases and stuff like that have like these heated private ponds that will hold birds. And
because I was trying to make the fight, I was trying to make the argument that, like, if you guys live in Illinois and you hunt ducks, you know that the wetlands management is piss poor in this state.
Yeah, it's trash.
It's very piss poor, and it's the only reason anything is ever done is because the duck hunters come together and create an organization together and raise money as the hunters, and then get permission, and they plant. You know what I mean? The duck hunters do it themselves on public lands. So the state who manages it, which is terrible, like it, the fact that the duck hunters we spend all this money that goes into a fund that is specifically supposed to be used for these operations, and they're not. So you're spending the money on the ammunition and all that stuff going to the government funds, and then you're having to spend more money to accommodate to buy feed and come together with other hunters and buy feed and do the cutting and the planting. I mean, I give it to props. The guys at Horseshoe Lake, they come together, they put feed out. I've heard that groups getting together and planting Carlisle, which, matter of fact, that group of people, I think the state just like banned them from doing that because it was taking jobs away from government employees.
Yeah, but if the government employees would do their job and the state would give them the funding to do their job,
Yeah,
then they
that's the
wouldn't have
problem.
to then they
And
wouldn't have to do that.
I'm not gonna blame the
So
government
is
employees
it
for like the lower level that would do the hard work, because a lot of those guys, like the IDNR officers and stuff, a lot of them are tired of it too. They want to provide environment for
a
the
lot of
species,
those guys are hunters.
and they're not given the opportunity. They're not given the funds, the resources to do it. Those funds, it's corrupt. I will say it on this
What isn't?
podcast. I will say it on this podcast. The state is corrupt, and the wetlands management is piss poor, and the funds aren't being used for what they're supposed to. And I'm glad there's a guy that has been he's posted stuff, and he's been fighting it and asking for receipts, because there's funds traveling between government
That's called money
organizations.
laundering.
Yeah, exactly. Being funneled from one section to another, and there's no receipts. Or they say they don't hold it, they don't have the receipts, but it's just, it comes back to that when I was driving that one road and I saw, prairie, prairie restoration project, and it was 20 yards wide by 8 miles long. That's not a prairie. That's not going to hold anything.
That's a ditch.
That's not going to produce for anything. It's not going to hold anything. It's not going to improve any, like, don't tell me that's a restoration project when you're letting a ditch overgrow and calling
Right.
it plains. It's upsetting. And then maybe somebody listening to this can give us comment, heads up, and give us some links to some stuff to try and get word out and start fighting back against this corruption again,
Yeah, because hunting, I mean, you can go to almost any diner and hear the old heads talk about, it ain't like it used to be, because it's not. It's just simply not, because people used to, you know, depend on the land to provide, and it wasn't always about the almighty dollar. It was about doing the right thing. So,
Yeah, you can
where we went wrong, I don't know, but I don't know where to start. Let me put it that way.
well,
There's plenty of things we've done wrong.
uh, you can see the difference between when the IDNR runs something and when the Corps of Engineers runs something. The Lewis and
It's not-
Clark that you hunt, that's Corps of Engineers.
right, and it's trash.
Well, there's deer out there. There's plenty of deer out there, though.
Eh,
I mean, Pulley shoots them every year. But it's natural habitat that they just let it. I mean, they do. They just let it grow.
yeah, it is natural.
But
There is
they're also not.
there is a ton of feed trees out there.
Yeah, they're not. It's not. It says nothing about like a wetlands project or anything. You know what I mean? I don't think it's even those little ponds that are out there. I don't even think those are meant to be.
No, they're just overflowed sloughs.
Yeah, just overflows that we happen to be able to use. But when something is labeled for a specific purpose, it should be able to be used for that specific purpose. You know, it should be funded for that
Yeah.
specific purpose.
You know, you got
When you
all
have-
these refuges that
Yeah, when
like,
you have a bird refuge.
if you go right across the bridge here in Alton, you know, like I go across the bridge and get gas. It's a little bit cheaper, but there is a there's a waterfowl refuge right next to the gas station. So I'm like, I've never been down there. Let's go see if there's any birds down there. It was when it was still cold. There's 50 geese, and there's nothing there but just a rock retaining, you know, like a rock retaining wall, and this little island in the middle, and like 50 geese on it. That's it. And they're calling that a wildlife refuge. It's nothing. There's nothing there. And then there's just a bunch of grassland behind it that doesn't hold any feed. It just looks like a bunch of invasive plants.
Yeah.
And they're calling it a waterfowl refuge. Like, if they would just plant something. Like, it's not.
If they would use the funds that we
provide
to them.
If we could get the funds, you know.
I mean, when you buy a state habitat stamp, when you buy your required state duck stamp, those funds directly to waterfowl management. And I mean, Illinois is a massive state for ducks. Like,
It used to be.
It's well, duck hunters, let's say that.
Yeah, duck hunters.
So don't tell me that you're not providing, you know, the ammunition that is bought every year. Now that goes in the Robertson Patterson fund, which is sent up to the federal level, and then it's distributed to the states based on how many licenses were sold. So the ammunition across the United States bought goes into that federal fund, and it's distributed, which kind of stinks for us, being is that most of our population's in Chicago and can't or doesn't hunt. So I think we kind of get gypped on that.
Mm-hmm.
When 90% of the state has nothing to do with Chicago.
I just seen. I'm trying to find it.
Oh, yeah, it's a rant session today, guys. It's definitely a rant session because I hate.
Man, it's tiring.
I hate corruption.
You know, we spend the money. We spend as hunters. We literally chase after the most expensive free food that there is.
Oh my god, yeah.
And this is how we get treated in return.
It'd be cheaper for me to buy a couple cows a year.
It would be. But like, where is the self-sufficiency in that, you know?
Yeah.
That's the whole point of hunting, is to be self-sufficient. You know, that's where it come from. And don't
get me wrong, it's fun. It is. There's a fun to it too.
To
be a duck hunter, you have to love it. You can't.
You have to love it because it's a rough.
Love it. You can't.
It's a rough sport.
It's not one of those things you can just pick up and be like, oh, I'm gonna go duck hunting today.
Definitely not squirrel hunting. You can't just walk in the woods and, you know, oh, there's a squirrel, and just, you know, shoot it with your 22. Like, there's practice and there's plenty of dollars spent on the equipment alone. And we're not talking a boat. I mean, we have a boat. We have a boat, right? But but
yeah. Speaking of
decoys.
I just bought a new blind bag.
Oh well, maybe here in a second we'll let you show it off.
After I found the clip. No,
you didn't.
I did. The clip was it's here in the basement. The clip to the front of that blind bag is here in the basement. And I was switching my stuff from the old blind bag to the new blind bag, and I found the clip, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me? I didn't need." But it's okay. This one has the thermos holder, so. I've already loaded her down.
What does this say?
And it has a sunglass holder.
Federal
hard case.
Public Land Recreation generates $350 million daily, creates more jobs than logging and mining combined. That's from outdoorlife.com. And it says, quote, outdoor recreation on America's public lands and waters generate about $351 million every day for the federal government, local communities, counties, and states. And it's a rough economic impact of hosting 8 Super Bowls every single month, according to a new report by the Outdoor Recreations Roundtable. Where is the money? $351 million a day. Where is the money? Where's the money?
Salaries. That's what they went, salaries. But then what about the grants they get every year?
Yeah. Grants for what?
Every state gets grants. Every state gets grants for their.
What is it? Carlisle Lake is the second biggest lake in Illinois. I think Wren Lake is the third. Second biggest. I think it's the second biggest man-made lake in Illinois. And somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. But those guys, like, that is a hardcore duck hunting community.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and I like the way it's set up. I mean, it's not terrible. I love the way it's set up. You got. But if you want flooded corn, you've got some flooded cornfields. If you want to hunt in the woods, there's some wood spots. It's just the work you want to put in. But
yeah, I mean,
when you go out there, there's no corn planted, and all you have is just
cockaburros.
Yeah.
Apparently, I think I read a post on Facebook on the Carlisle Duck Hunters page or whatever that said that they didn't plant again this year. Are you kidding me?
And all they have to do, again, they stopped the civilian population from helping out.
You're talking about guys that literally, like, that is the hobby of not just a group of people, but the whole community around the whole lake.
Yeah, there's an official Carlisle waterfowl like organization.
Yeah.
And it's a bunch of hunters that have gotten together and created this organization that in the previous years have been going out there every year. They raise money for feed, and they'll go and they plant every year. And they got stopped this year. So it's like,
crazy, man.
Guys are trying to do they're spending their hard-earned money. They're raising money for this cause. And then you have the state stepping in and say, no. You know what? We don't want you doing that.
Okay, then you do it.
Yeah,
But we can't
exactly.
trust you with the money that we raise because you're just going to launder it somewhere else. You know, it doesn't, where's the money for the shells? Where's the money for the decoys that we've spent?
And
And
then this project of renaturalize this, I don't know, whatever this bill that they just passed was
rewilding or whatever.
rewilding, yeah, where they want to introduce all these apex predators back into these areas. Why? I don't know.
Why?
Yeah. You're gonna take out a whole,
They think
the
that
all of Carlisle. You're gonna take a whole area for waterfowl and get rid of it so that you can reintroduce what big cats, things like that. I don't.
well, they're talking about taking out. Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't you say that they were talking about taking out like man-made structures and stuff like that?
Let me look up the bill.
Well, while we're waiting on Adam, let me go ahead and just shout out our sponsor here real quick. Curly Joe Creations. She has a Facebook page. She does great work. Here are the koozies. Guys, if you would like a koozie, they're double-sided, just regular can koozie, double-sided with our logo on them. It's got our YouTube handle on there. If you guys would like one, shoot us an email at wildernesswire25@gmail.com, and we will try and set up a form of payment for the best way you can to get your donation to us for a can koozie. Right now we have 13 in stock. If we see an impulse and people wanting one, then we can certainly have Curly Joe Creations make us some more.
So I've got
Go ahead.
I've got the bill pulled up. So the key provisions of it. All right. The bill grants Illinois Department of Natural Resources, there's already a problem there, the authority to take necessary actions for rewilding, which includes restoring land, which would sound great, reintroducing native species, and reestablishing ecological processes. Focus on apex predators. The bill emphasizes the importance of reintroducing apex predators, which play a critical role in maintaining ecosystem balance, and keystone species, which have a disproportionately large impact on the environment. Proponents of the bill argue that rewilding can lead to improved biodiversity and enhanced ecosystem services, addressing significant environmental issues such as habitat loss and species extinction exacerbated by urban development and climate change. However, the bill has faced opposition from agricultural and land use groups concerned about the potential impacts of reintroducing apex predators on livestock and local economies. And a local economy would definitely be duck hunting. Like the amount of revenue that places get from, duck hunting. I don't know. I just it's nuts. This state is just from what I've seen, it's just piss poor management everywhere, because you have the concentration on the cities, which is, a fraction of the state, but it's
very,
major.
very small fraction of the state.
Yeah. But I don't know how to fight back. Like,
well,
I
the
don't
only
know.
thing we can fight
I don't know
back
where to
was
start.
I mean, our first line of defense is our voice. So, guys, if you can, share this podcast, share this episode. Let's get it as high as we can. Speak our minds. That's the only way that we're going to win is because they have all the money, obviously, because they're not spending it on us. But we have the First Amendment right, and our voices should be heard as hunters and conservationists, fishermen. It's not just duck hunt. It's deer hunters, squirrel hunters, turkey hunters, bass fishermen, crappie fishermen, catfish fishermen. Everybody across the whole state. The only way that we can fight is with our voice right now, and it's worked in the past, and hopefully it can work again. So, and I know that there's other podcasts talking about this. We can't be the only one. So,
no.
And it's not just the state; it's across the whole country. But we've got to stand together as one with this, and let our voices be heard. So, if you know where to share it or how to share it, please do so. With that being said, let me go ahead and plug our socials so you can find us anywhere that you like. You can find us on Facebook and YouTube for our videos and shorts, and also TikTok and Instagram for just the shorts. We do stream whenever we do a podcast. We do stream on Twitch also and Kick. Am I correct?
I think right now when we stream, we're streaming on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook.
Okay.
We can only stream on 3 services at one time. So those are the main 3 that we're focusing on when it comes to streaming. Our audios are going to drop. They get sent out by Podbean. So it's Pandora, Spotify, Apple, all your big major league podcasters or podcast services. So but look us up, give us a shout, give us a try, give us a like, a follow, and we appreciate it. Anybody tuning in, anybody, if this is your first episode, hopefully you go back and listen to the rest of the episodes.
Yeah, for sure.
We're still new. We're still working on it. It's still our first year. Been doing it for a couple months now.
But we got a lot of great content. I think that there's plenty more to come, especially with the current events. If you do like what you're hearing, give us some feedback. If you have an opinion, make sure that you comment on any of the major platforms that we stream to, and we will definitely read those comments and react to them on future podcasts. So,
yeah, have you been seeing any comments? I haven't even seen any comments.
I haven't really seen any here recently. As of right now, we're not doing giveaways. But we definitely thank you guys for those who are listening in.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. And this is the Wilderness Wired podcast. And like always, stay wild.